A very good afternoon to all and a warm welcome to the inaugural MAVEX Power Talk series. And I'm Engineer Gopal Narayanputi, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. MAVEX Power Talk is a series of on-point discussion where leaders and experts gather to deliberate and focus on opportunities and challenges faced by ACMV industry due to innovation of new technology and new policy requirement that requires our continual interaction for the benefit of our stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this Power Talk brought to you live by MAVEX, or Air Conditioning, Refrigeration and Ventilation Expo. Malaysia's first and inaugural exhibition is scheduled to take place this year from 8 to 11 September at Kuala Lumpur Convention Center. MAVEX is jointly organized by MACRA and CIS with the sole aim of becoming the premier event for ACMV and R stakeholders, and while at the same time to provide a unique platform for the growth, development, and to create business opportunity in this industry, both locally and in the ASEAN region. We have prepared a short video to show you how you can leverage on MAVEX, a dedicated business event for your business networking and expansion. Can we play the video, please? Thank you.
MAVEX will create a new milestone for MACA and the ACMV and R industry. We are working towards become the annual premium business and trade event. There will be an important date on the trade calendar for the industry within the ASEAN region.
MAVEX is a platform that is driven by the industry for the industry. We look forward for this platform that provides our stakeholders with business networking opportunities.
Beside the all-day exhibition, there will be an industry conference, forums, and many more exciting highlights at MAVEX.
Yes, we are excited as you are with MAVEX. Now, coming back to our Power Talk today, in this edition, I bring to you the theme on environmental sustainability, the future of ACMV and R industry. This topic is more relevant than ever, not because of technology readiness, but rather market readiness, which comes from both supply and demand. We will be discussing the following: the existing guideline, government directive, current and future acts towards achieving the environmental sustainability agenda of our nation. We were discussing about challenges that industry is facing, juggling between cost against efficiency. Generally, manufacturers' point of view is that it is more expensive to produce higher efficiency product, while on the demand side, buyers prefer to select cost efficiency. The importance of proper maintenance of ACMV system for the optimum performance and to reduce additional operation of the building of the owners. Yeah, these are the area where we have to discuss today. And we are very glad to have three specialists in their respective field of expertise. And they are Mr. Wong Tin Song, Undersecretary of Energy Efficiency, Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources. Engineer Cheng Tiam Leong, past President of Association of Consultant Engineers, Malaysia, advisor to both Makra and Basel. And Mr. Kevin Lim is a General Manager of I@Co Sdn Bhd. And ladies and gentlemen, feel free to drop your question in the comment section, and we will do our best to answer them by the end of this talk. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, let me introduce the first panelist for today's session. Please allow me to read out his CV. Mr. Wong Tin Song graduated in 1986 from National University of Malaysia with honors in Bachelor of Science, majoring in Food Science and Nutrition. He is presently the Undersecretary of Energy Efficiency, representing KEXA, and is instrumental in pushing for implementation of National Energy Efficiency Action Plan. In 2017, he was involved in drafting of Green Technology Master Plan, where energy, manufacturing, transport, building, waste, and water were the main concern area for green technology sector. Currently, he is actively involved in drafting of the Energy Efficiency Conservation Act, together with Energy Commission, ST, and Sustainable Energy Development Authority. The Act is expected to be tabled in Parliament this year. In 2019, he was appointed as a panel advisor for both Fuel Cell Institute and Solar Energy Research Institute of National University of Malaysia. In 2020, he was also appointed as industrial advisor for Xiamen University, Malaysia, in the area of New Energy Science and Engineering Program. Ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, let me invite Mr. Wong to join me on screen.
Thank you very much, Engineer Gopal. A very good afternoon to all the audience. I'm actually glad to be invited for this webinar, and I'll be actually talking on the General Energy Efficiency Initiative. So in this area, the policy also in Malaysia. Next, okay. Since the timing is very short, I will be probably just giving the updates on the progress on the energy efficiency and also conservation in the country from the perspective of the policy as well as the legal framework on energy efficiency and conservation. So, you know, for the audience who have known KEXA for a long time, you know very well that we are now in the final stage on the drafting of the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. So you may be wondering why it takes such a long time, because we were talking about the energy efficiency back in the 2010, you know, during the time when we were together with country like Vietnam. You know, by 2012, Vietnam you know, within the ASEAN region, they already got the Energy Efficiency Act. Now, Malaysia, we are very much in the last leg together with Laos, Cambodia, you know, Myanmar, who are still yet to have the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. But, you know, even by saying that, it doesn't mean that in Malaysia, we have not done enough of the energy efficiency and conservation activities. Okay, because I think the drafting of this act is very important to make sure that we are going to have a comprehensive prime mover to incorporate energy efficiency element into electrical as well as thermal energy consumption. It is probably very important for me to emphasize here that when we talk about the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, sadly, we did not incorporate the element of the transport sector, because the transport sector is very much in the purview of other ministries. And if you were to look into the issues of energy itself, it is also not only just confined to KEXA, because, you know, under the Prime Minister Department, we also have the Economic Planning Unit, who is also taking charge on the bigger energy issues. So we are focusing very much on the electrical components of the energy perspective, but in our act, we have incorporated the thermal component. So the proposed act, we actually state the comprehensive measure which are necessary to promote efficient utilization of the energy, include our target setting, communication, and also education. The act will also initiate the steps to reduce the GHG emission as a form of the regulatory approach. So we actually have drafted actually quite a fair bit of target in terms of the total saving by 2035, how much gigajoule equivalent that we wanted actually to save, and how much actually money that we can actually generate with this Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. And we also actually want to actually create the number of registered energy manager to about 2,790, from the present 1,269, and also the targeted number of new energy auditors by about 500. But I think being said that, if you look into the second slide, we actually also have completed the energy efficiency project under the 11 Malaysia Plan from 2016 to 2025, which is actually known as the Energy Audit Conditional Grant 1.0. This is actually all part of the government led by example initiative, which we have done. So you can actually see that for the government sector, we actually have retrofitted 28 government buildings, including 18 hospitals by the installation of new chillers, and also retrofitting on improved actually version on the energy efficiency initiative for buildings during the 11 Malaysia Plan. So apart from the government led by example initiative, the ministry has also been undertaking energy audit, offer energy audit conditional grant to industrial and also commercial sector from 2016 to 2018 to help them to carry out the implement energy audit, and also later proceed with the retrofit activities based on the finding and also recommendation on the energy audit. So during the 11 Malaysia Plan, we have done 108 industry and also 109 commercial buildings from 2016 to 2018, and they are actually now in the process of doing retrofitting activities. And we actually also have received approval for funding for the energy efficiency project under the 12 Malaysia Plan from 2021 to 2025, known as the EACG 2.0. Total under RMK 12, we actually have about 86 million. But for this year, 2021, we actually have a total of 7 million for this EACG grant. So if you were to look into the what we call that the ECA, the law itself, there is actually also a focus on the National Building Energy BI Labeling Program for government buildings. Subsequently, it is also going to go into the private sector, where the building energy intensity, the labeling, is actually going to help the government building to identify, in the category of 1 star to 5 star, to see whether the buildings actually are energy efficient or not. So, this is actually all very important exercise to actually help the government building to identify whether they're energy efficient or not. And if they belong to the category 1 star, then there is actually a requirement subsequently in the ECA Act to transform them actually from 1 star to 2 star, subsequently to 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star. So these are actually all the initiatives that we have undertaken to help now the government sector, subsequently the private sector, to provide them a mechanism for them to see what is the energy efficiency parameters for them actually to be more energy efficient. In fact, the existing Energy Commission law, the Efficient Management of Electrical Energy Regulation 2008, Energy Commission actually has identified there are many of these commercial sector, industrial sector, even actually government building like hospitals, where they are actually not energy efficient, but they actually consume a lot of electricity. It is actually important for them to appoint either an energy manager in-house, or they can actually engage an external energy auditor, and then the government actually is there to assist these entities the private entity, being the commercial sector, the industrial sector, for them actually to use the grant that are being provided actually by the government. So for commercial sector, it is in the range of about 50,000 per building. For industrial sector, it is in the range of 70,000 to 80,000. Other than that, we also actually have the maps for the standard and also labeling for the domestic appliances, the aircon, the refrigerator, television, fan, lighting, and washing machine. I think very recently in the most recent budget 2021, we have a program called the SAVE, SAVE 2.0 program for aircon as well as for refrigerator. If the consumers, the private consumer were to buy a 4-star or 5-star consumer, then the government actually will be able to provide them a rebate of 200 ringgit actually for those electrical appliances. So you can actually see these are some of the initiatives that we have done. And even though actually the law is in the process, but we are already moving actually into implementing many of these energy efficient initiatives. Next slide, please. If you look into the next slide, then you can find that there is actually a term called the NEEAP, the National Energy Efficiency Action Plan. That was actually a plan because in 2012, when we did not manage actually to get the act, we decided actually to transform some of these recommendation into a National Energy Efficiency Action Plan. And we have actually given actually the 5 strategic areas for us to focus. And with the business as usual scenario and with the NEAP initiative, from 2016 to 2025, there's actually a lot of initiative incorporating some of the recommendations that I mentioned just now, MAPS initiative, the energy audit, conditional grant initiative. And we actually also have included even some of the initiative like co-generation initiative, the building design initiative, for us actually to help basically that the whole electricity utilization, sectors, being the industrial sector, commercial sector, then they can actually also benefit from this action plan. Next slide, you can actually see that we have actually also identified the kind of energy auditors, the kind of energy management system that we require. So as you can see that, it is not possible actually to expect that the energy efficiency industry to grow without looking into the requirement on the human factor sector. So this is actually where you can find that the government is actually very keen to provide the training so that there are more energy auditors, there are more energy managers than people who are actually familiar, even actually in the industrial sector, that they are only not looking into the production and manufacturing processes, but they're also people who are looking into the energy consumption, the utilization to see how they can actually help to the industry actually to improve on the energy consumption actually pattern. So as you can see, next slide, we actually then have the, we'll call that, next slide please, the certification by Energy Commission to provide training, by the training institution. So in this case, there are some universities, there are also some of these agencies under what we call that under TEXA, such as SEDA, and also our former agency like MGTC, where they actually provide training program to those people who are actually interested. They may not actually be an energy specialist, but they are what we call that technically competent people to know what is the energy status, the pattern actually of their own plant, so that they can further improve on the energy consumption. There are actually many issues that are related to the next slide, please. So I think other than that, we actually also have the standards for the domestic appliances like aircon, the refrigerator, television, fan, lighting, washing machine, which we want actually to promote the 4-star and 5-star the labeling exercises. Okay, and last slide, we can actually see, since I have a little bit of time, there are a lot of actually challenges and also opportunity for the E&C development. This act itself is basically going to actually help the industry to see that there are a lot of opportunities for us to venture into energy efficient, being the appliances, being the energy management system, so that the whole industry actually can grow and it can actually benefit to help Malaysia, accomplish our objective that we are also contributing to the global climate change issues. With that, thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, Mr. Wong, thank you very much for the informative presentation and for sharing with us on the latest initiative by the government towards achieving environmental sustainability. We hope the new Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, which will be tabled in Parliament this year as planned. And meantime, our ACMV and our industry players and stakeholders must be ready when the act comes into force soon. Thank you, Mr. Wong. Thank you again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our second panelist for today. Please let me read out IR Chang CV. Engineer Chang Tiam Leong, past President of Association of Consultant Engineer Malaysia, Institution of Fire Engineers Malaysia, ASTRAE Malaysia Chapter, and Kiwani's Down Syndrome Foundation. He is also an advisor to both MACRA and BASM, founding member of Malaysian Green Building Index, and he has over 40 years of experience in building service industry. His innovative design have won 2 ASEAN Energy Award and Emerson Cup winner, a second placing in prestigious ASTRAE Technology Award 2013. He served in the Malaysian standard writing committees and was instrumental in drafting the National Energy Efficiency Bylaw. Having served in various national steering committee and co-authored Malaysian standards on energy, HVAC, flammable refrigerant, and fire code, he was a national expert for ACMV phase-out master plan, and now the national HFC phase-down plan. He is active in the Board of Engineers Malaysia, setting the professional competency exam, and also in the BM Discipline Committee. Engineer Chang was involved in developing the National Certificate of Completion and Compliance and the Fire Certificate. In 2006, he was appointed Malaysia's first ASTRAE Distinguished Lecturer and has since been lecturing globally on sustainability and energy efficiency. In recognition of his contribution to the engineering fraternity, he was honored with the ACEM Gold Medal Award in 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, let me bring Engineer Chang on screen with me.
Thank you, Gopal, for the very kind words.
All right. Thank you, Engineer Chang, and the floor is yours. You can proceed with the presentation.
Okay, thank you. My topic today, what are the future technologies and solutions to meet environmental sustainability? I'd like to start off by posing the question, what is the correlation between ACMVNR and environmental sustainability? Well, for starters, for residential buildings, let's look at it. Air conditioning consumes approximately 15% of electricity used for those residential residents that use air conditioning. Whereas in commercial buildings, air conditioning can consume up to between 40 to 60% of electricity used. So easily 50%. And how does this translate to sustainability? That's the answer. 1 kilowatt hour electricity consumed by these air conditioning units will emit between 0.536 to 0.699 kilograms of CO2. So you can now visualize the amount. And why a figure between 0.5 to 0.6? That depends on where you are. Because in Peninsular Malaysia versus Sabah or Sarawak. In Sarawak, there's electric power. A lot of it is generated by hydropower, which then emits less CO2. Whereas in Peninsula and Sabah, you have a combination of natural gas and coal. So that's how it's calculated by the Energy Commission, I suppose, annually. So what do we do? Our next challenge, because of that, we have to improve air conditioning energy efficiency to reduce CO2 emission. How do we go about that? For residential buildings, the answer is, first of all, try to design without the need for air conditioning. Design for passive houses. We used to have that, but we have deviated from that over the years. Obviously, it's not as easy for high rises. Consumers, for residential buildings, consumers are laymen. So the best way of helping them understand or practice energy efficiency is to regulate the production and sale of only EE appliances, efficient appliances for air-con split units and domestic refrigerators. And the first speaker, Mr. Wong, has highlighted how we do this under the MEPS, the Minimum Energy Performance Standard, which awards star rating, and only equipment with above 2 stars are permitted to be manufactured and sold. And by the way, Malaysia is a leading manufacturer of split units, and all major brands are available here. And to make you understand it or visualize it, walk along the back street of any rows of shop houses, and you see the amount of split units that's already in place. What about commercial buildings? This we have to treat differently. Customized air conditioning system, unlike off-the-shelf appliances for residential consumers. That's what we use for commercial buildings. So it has to involve the holistic supply and delivery chain to achieve proper and optimal EE operation. So instead of MEPS, we have to depend on codes like the Uniform Building Bylaw, the Malaysian Standard, the consultant's design specification, and ultimately the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, BEI compliance, which again, the first speaker, Mr. Wong, already touched on, that will be coming into place. This holistic approach, I suppose, is best explained in a flow chart. Here you can see that the owner, you start with the owner wanting to develop a commercial building, and he engages a designer. The first thing that needs to be established is the owner's project requirements. How the owner's intended building is going to operate and be used. It can be an office building, yet it can be an office building with what sort of tenancy. Tenancy can vary a lot nowadays. If it's a brokerage firm or in a common office building, the energy use and the way it's designed can be a lot of difference. From the designer has to establish his basis of design to meet the OPR, the owner's project requirements, so that his design can be translated and installed by the contractor to meet the original objective. Now you can see the word CXX all along the way. This is a relatively new term to Malaysians. When I say new, it's at least more than 10 years ago that was introduced. Commissioning specialists. There's no point having the best installed and best designed, best installed system in place, but it's never commissioned to its full potential. So you'll be wasting a lot of capital and resources. Now, in terms of CXX, which is not a new term worldwide, in other countries it can be known as commissioning authority or commissioning agent. And for this, in Malaysia locally, one particular body has actually conducted training programs with exams even to register this group of people. That's Green Building Index when they first started more than 10 years ago. Now, while we embark on commissioning and making sure that everything will run to its full potential, there was also a discovery or reality of the system. If it's not installed properly and not operating properly, we can't achieve the final destination. That's the building automation system. I'm glad to know that there's a third speaker after me who will be touching on this. And to ensure that the BS is well understood, there's even a uniform building bylaw, a new bylaw called Bylaw 38 been enacted back in 2012, which in a nutshell says that buildings with air-conditioned space of more than 4,000 square meters must be equipped with an energy management system, which is the building automation system. Only with all these loops being closed and done properly, then only can test and commission the whole building properly, train up the operators before they can ultimately practice sustainable maintenance, not just purely maintenance, but sustainable maintenance. So my next question will be, how much more can we improve energy efficiency of the air conditioning equipment that we have today, not just locally, but around the world? Let's examine the Malaysian standard. Yes, our famous standard energy efficiency is the Malaysian standard 1525. And it was first produced in 2001. And like any standard, it needs to be renewed every 5 years or slightly, sometimes only a bit of delay. And we have just 2 years ago published the 2019 version. And always remember, the Malaysian standards mainly stipulate only the minimum coefficient of performance. Now, for those who are not familiar, COP, coefficient of performance, is basically the energy efficiency of the air conditioning equipment. So from progressing from 2001 to 2019, you can observe that split units in 2001, in the Malaysian standard, we stipulated a COP of 2.6. The higher the COP, the more efficient it is. And by 2019, we have improved it to 3.7 as a minimum, which is a 42% improvement. So industry have been working very hard on this. Next comes the package units, the larger units, larger than the split units. And the first batch of it, the first category will be the air-cooled package units. See, 2001, we have a COP of 2.7. By 2019, we only managed 3.2, which is only 18% improvement, which is a letdown. And the only reason that it has happened is not only in Malaysia, because worldwide, globally, all standards have not really pushed this particular efficiency for this category of equipment. Package units water-cooled system, on the other hand, in 2001, we have COP at 2.9. In Malaysia, we have pushed it all the way to 4.1 by 2019, reflecting 41% improvement. I must say that the Malaysian manufacturers has been very cooperative when we are developing all these Malaysian standards. And obviously, they were all represented. And we keep pushing up the bar every time we meet. And they have actually met the challenges. Although, personally, I like them to meet even higher goals. The last category, chillers, the huge equipment. From 2.9 COP, we have pushed it all the way to 6.26, a whopping 116% improvement. Yes, this for whatever reason, this big equipment, everybody concentrates on it globally, not just Malaysia. But the sad news is that how many percent of air conditioning are actually served by chillers in this part of the world? When I say this part of the world, it means Malaysia and the whole of Southeast Asia, even the Middle East. The market share, chillers only serve 15% of cooling needs. Whereas the others, which is the split units and package units, the split units in Malaysia is up to 60%, package units 25%. So it pays to improve these categories even more substantially. So that's the challenge. Next, I'd like to touch on what are future technologies and solutions available. Well, the concepts, strategies, and proper applications that must suit our equatorial climate. There are plenty of concepts around, but are they suitable? Because ours is a really hot and humid climate year-round. So a lot of technologies, if it's not localized, will not work here. And technologies that can take advantage of our local climate. Don't forget, a hot and humid climate doesn't mean that we are disadvantaged all the time. On the other hand, there can be technologies that are advantageous for us to suit us here and not other countries, or rather not other climates. And let's look at those. So here are the plethora of future ACMV sustainable technologies for the tropics that includes our equatorial. And these are my normal lectures that go around the world explaining it all. Some are very simple, some are more complicated, some you are ready for it, others you got to wait because you have to have this economy of scale before you reach that level. So the first one that is very simple, we should be looking at mandatory condensate water harvesting to reflect energy efficient application. What are these? Every air conditioning unit in Malaysia, our equatorial climate, we are hot and humid. So every air conditioner has to extract water and moisture out. So you can see, and any air conditioning unit you have around your house anywhere, you can see water dripping down all the time. that these are the cold condensate water. They should not be wasted. They should be designed to be harvested, to be used. For example, maybe to as makeup water for the cooling tower, so that cooling tower becomes even more efficient. Harvesting it at least for irrigation. Yes, it's a bit of waste, but at least you save some water because plants do not differentiate so much on whether the water is cold or lukewarm. Second on the list will be Top Runner MEPS for residential appliances. I'm quoting this because Japan has successfully implemented this Top Runner program, not just mere MEPS as what our X is coming out with, but in Japan they push the bar all the time. Every year they look at, for example, refrigerator producers, what are the top 5% efficiency the companies can produce, and then use that top 5% to push the next year's benchmark. So this is a possibility here if you really want to improve tremendously. Number 3, progressive lowering of BI leading to zero energy billing target. You heard Mr. Wong saying that BI labeling will come around. Yes, but we can't do it overnight with one step, one leap, giant leap. Yes, we can progressively lower it. And I'll be asking Mr. Wong later whether the government has any target for ZEP in our country. Number 4, cool roofs and active facades. The name already says it, because especially in Malaysia, where the sun is overhead all the time, right? And the roofs are exposed to it non-stop. So it's important to have technologies to actually cool us down, improve it, and obviously the envelope of the building, the active facades. Number 5 are the more active systems, the heat pipes, evaporative cooling, hybrid air conditioners, low temperature system. All these, if you get it right, are very applicable in Malaysia, right? To address relative humidity, to address various technologies or strategies for air conditioning. 6, chill slabs and beams, underfloor air distribution system, thermal displacement ventilation. I'm glad to say that chill slab and beams, one my award-winning project recently in 2010 is the famous ST building. It's chill slab, but the challenge is to apply it properly here, and it's really energy savings will be achieved. Underfloor air distribution, ever since it was started, that's more than 20 years back, more and more buildings are adopting it because if applied properly, it's very suitable for our climate as well. And thermal displacement ventilation, similar effect. Number 7, phase change material, cooling field cell cogen. I won't elaborate too much because those who want to know, I can explain. Number 8, solar thermal cooling. Instead of just concentrating on PV to generate electricity, and PVs, as you know, that is a limited efficiency. The efficiency the whole world is trying to strive to now is towards about, say, 30% efficiency, because to convert electricity, only a certain spectrum of the solar spectrum is useful. But for solar thermal cooling, the entire spectrum is useful. So the efficiency is above 85%. But the problem has always been economy of scale. Number 9, natural refrigerants. Use of natural refrigerants and non-refrigerant air conditioning. All this contribute to sustainability as well. At the same time, the challenge is to find something that is equally efficient. Last but not least, and my favorite, I call it exergy efficiency instead of energy efficiency. Energy efficiency today, it always relates to electricity. It's about time we know what is exergy efficiency. And on that note, thank you very much, and I'll pass the session back to the chairman.
Thank you, Engineer Cheng, for sharing your valuable experience with us and highlighting the new sustainability technology which are suitable for tropic. Our ACMV and industrial player should explore the potential of these technologies and maximize the benefit from this system and product. Ladies and gentlemen, we will discuss further on this topic and others during our discussion forum later. Now, allow me to bring in our last speaker, Mr. Kelvin Lim, our General Manager, I Eat Coast and Berhad. and allow me to read out his CV of our third and final panelist for today. Mr. Kevin is the General Manager of iEatco Sdn Bhd. Kevin started his career with Train Malaysia in 2001, and over a span of 11 years, he has managed a broad, diversified portfolio, with the last portfolio in the applied product business division. Since leaving Train, he has continued to be actively involved in air conditioning industry, focusing in energy solution. He joined iEatco in 2012, started off as the contractor by improving chiller plant operation, and since he has moved on by diversifying his solution to building automation system, chillers, and also providing energy service to the customer. Let's welcome Mr. Kelvin on screen with me.
Hi, thank you, Engineer Gopal, for the introduction.
Welcome, good afternoon, welcome, Mr. Kelvin. Now you can start your presentation now.
Thank you, Engineer Gopal. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelvin. I represent iEatco for this power talk that is about the future of ACMV. So just to share a little bit about us and our journey, I think Engineer Gopal has also shared with you pretty much about my background. I started my career with the company itself, the people in the company itself. Started off in the train with the Train company. It's an air conditioning company from the US. And then we moved on from Train. We came out and we started looking at how we can improve chiller plant management in a chiller plant. Because we know that chiller plants are the one that consumes the most energy in every building. Yeah. And then sometime around 2015, we decided that we got to have some product solutions to our customers. And now we have various portfolio. For instance, product from the EE side will be, we have hybrid chillers that are having very good efficiency, around 0.76 kilowatt per ton. And then we also have something that's called an indirect evaporative cooler, which is from the Australia, which it's only using about 20% of the energy versus air conditioning. Something that, we in designs like Mr. Engineer Chen mentioned, we can incorporate this instead of air conditioning. And then we also look into chiller plant management system, which today we work together with Sauter from Switzerland, and not forgetting, whenever we have controls, monitoring of how a building operates, how the machinery works. It's very important, and we also work with a company from the UK on this thing. All right, and then we will be launching new solutions soon, which is actually the new range from the Celia International, which is an indirect evaporative air cooler, and also something that we call iAir, which helps with the indoor air quality. All right. And moving on, after when we adopted certain product solutions, we came up with giving to our customers energy services, whereby we can work with clients on a zero energy services contract. This is something which we can share with you if you're interested during the exhibition. Do visit us, yeah? All right. So this is just something about us. Moving on, as I said earlier, we partner with Sauter, which is a company from Switzerland, which has the same philosophy as us, which is they are also energy solution-based company. And they are forefront because they are, in terms of technology, they have gone web-based, they are IoT ready, and they actually simplified the whole topology. And when you go web-based, don't forget security system is very, very important. All right. And not just building management or chiller management system, they are also doing asset management as well. All right. So moving on, in every building, we know it has its purpose. In every building, we know there's always challenges, there's always opportunities, to cap the waste. And how do we know, how come waste is always there in a building. And the reason behind waste is because there is lack of intuitiveness, there's lack of visibility. Owners are not able to see where their energies are being used. Lack of optimization, because lack of visibility will not give you the idea of how you should run your system, you know. And with visibility, and then lack of customization as well will not give you the best solution, because every building is so dynamic, right? And last but not least, actually, it's all about experience, because air conditioning, it's very dynamic, you know, today. So how can we cap the waste in the building? As I mentioned, we make energy visible, and having real-time data to tell how are you using your energy in the building is very important. And from there, you are able to optimize and also to customize the solution to the client. And last but not least, always, when you want to cap your waste, it's always a partnership in terms of engineering. How can we help the client to save energy, right? You know, like US, this Department of Energy said clearly that there are 3 areas of opportunity when you have the right visibility. Firstly and foremost is actually the people. When you are able to give them knowledge of, they are able then to operate the building better, right? And then in terms of operational, how can we make the building optimized and more customized so that there will be some operation excellence, right? And then last but not least, technological. Definitely by putting more advanced product in the building, you can get very good efficiency. Yeah? But again, you must be able to operate, to customize it so that the building will operate at its best, right? Here, let's talk about, like what Engineer Chen mentioned, the right engineering design. You can implement low flow design, low temp designs. You can design variable primary flow, where pumping the right flow based on demand, getting your design right so that you can have longevity in the equipment. But again, you gotta have a building management or chiller management system, and also monitoring to be able to have a sustainable performance in a building, right? So just to share with you, how does how does data help you when you look at a building, right? When you have visibility. For example, here is real-time data. It's data that we captured in a shopping mall in KL, whereby there are 5 numbers of 1,000 ton installed, roughly about 600 kilowatts each operating, and 2 small baby chillers, 300 ton, almost 200 kilowatts of energy used per chiller at maximum. All right, so you can see here, data is very clear. You can see how many chillers are running, how many pumps are running, and what time it's running, and things like that. So from here, we captured information whereby sometimes between the time of 8 to 10 p.m., 2 to 3 chillers will run. And then from 10 to 3:30, 1 chiller will run. Please note that this mall has chiller plant management installed. Yeah. All right. So now when we look in depth into this real-time data, when we put it into graphical presentation where you are able to see, we are able to visualize how it's being run. So some days you will notice that 2 chillers are running, right? And you see when it's 2 chillers running, it should be approximately around 1,200 kilowatts. And then some days you will have 3 chillers kicking in and consuming, you see, it's not a flat line, and it's consuming close to probably 1,300 kilowatts, right? So when you look at it, 2 chillers is already sufficient to cool the mall. But unfortunately, sometimes the automation will call in the 3rd chillers, all right? Okay, now we move on. Further, when you look into the data that's been collected, when you have 3 chillers running, not at its optimum, you'll notice that the pumping power itself is more. It's not just energy wasted on the chiller, but also on the pumping power. All right, can you see the two? When 2 chillers are running, the pumping power is at this level. When 3 chillers are running, the pumping energy is at this level. So you just imagine when the chillers are running for about 8 to 10 hours a day, that's a lot of energy that's being wasted. And bear in mind, again, like I say, there is chiller plant management installed in this system. All right, but there was no visibility, no optimization. That's why you are not able to see, to understand, and to continuously commission, to continuously monitor the system to operate in this optimum level. Example here, sometimes at between 10 to 3:30 in the morning, you will see two chill water pumps are running, but only 1 chiller is running. So there is some issues with the control system in place. If there is no real-time monitoring and there's no visibility, you are not able to capture such information. And without this information, you will not be able to continuously improve the building energy consumption to make it to a lower level, to make it more efficient, right? You can buy the best chiller, you can buy the best of everything, putting on the best, you can put on the system, but if it's not continuously monitored real time, it is not controlled to its optimum, it's not controlled, customized control, it will not be able to run at its optimum, right? So just another example, we can you can actually have a customized dashboard to show the client, or where the client can see where are the energy being used. So like for this example here, we can see we are actually monitoring and tracking the delta T of the chill water. We are maintaining a delta T that is specified in design. There is no fluctuation. So by doing that, we know that the pumps are actually running according to what is designed for, and it's being controlled to what it's designed for. But if you do not have real time, you will not be able to see such operations, right? All right. So to my last page here, it's one of our jobs that we have done for a mall in KL. We have helped the client shave close to 60,000 a month from the chiller plant operation itself. You can see this is implementation of the new system, and this is after when we commissioned during MCO time, right? This is during MCO. You can see my pointer, and then when it's back to normal, you can see that the energy has dropped tremendously just by being able to see how the plant room is operating, and we custom it to suit so that we can help the building owner save energy. All right. Another example, when you look at this real-time data that we collected, even the power is very, very flatline. This is prior to the optimization. You can see energy is always fluctuating. Probably the chillers are kicking in and out unnecessarily. Too many chillers are operating without any controls, right? And this here, we managed to make it flatline, make it more consistent, all right, so that you don't get penalized on demand. Okay, that's all for my sharing. Do visit us at booth 2P295 to 297 during MAVREC 2021. Thank you very much, and back to you, Engineer Gopal.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kevin, for highlighting the importance of proper and planned maintenance of ACMV system and the need of using collected information, analyzing it for optimum performance of a chiller. Just a reminder again to the audience, please feel free to ask any question at the moment at the comment section. Yeah. Now, we have heard from all the 3 panelists representing various sectors, as the government, consultant practice, and contractor. In summary, what are the national initiatives on energy efficiency program from KETSA and the new Energy Efficiency Conservation Act, which will be implemented this year? What are the current and future technologies and solutions to meet the environmental sustainability in industry? why it is important for building owners to ensure the systems are properly maintained to achieve optimum performance, thus the reduction in operation cost of a building. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall move on to the discussion forum and tackle some questions from the audience as well as fellow engineers. Let me invite the three panelists to join me on screen, Mr. Wong, Engineer Chang, and Mr. Kelvin. The serious part of the talk is over, and let's be informal in our discussion forum. And let's show some smiles, yeah, gentlemen? Okay, the first question, I think, is to Mr. Engineer, Mr. Wong. Can you tell us how the new EE&C Act will impact the ACMV and the stakeholders? And what is your advice to them in respect of readiness?
Okay. I can, or Engineer Gopal, I can also take the opportunity to answer Engineer Chen's question just now on ZEP.
Fine, go ahead. And also, Kevin, since you asked the question, Kevin, please tell us which mall that the test was done and the results you obtained.
We are not liberty to share which mall because we have actually signed the NDA with the client. Yeah, so
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, okay.
That's a question from the audience. So okay, I think you got the answer. Yeah, thank you.
So I think just answer it shortly. I think for the Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act, with the act, then everything will be in order. You know, placed in order. It actually means that the industrial, the commercial sector, even the residential, they are required actually to submit data as required actually by the act. So for that matter, to them, the energy management system or the kind of monitoring actually of the data then become very important. Then there is actually then a lot of opportunity for a company like Kelvin and also other people, consultants who can actually be engaged in either producing what we'll call the electrical appliances which are more energy efficient, aircon which are more efficient, chillers which are more efficient. At the same time, you know, people may wanted to look into the overall kind of energy system that can be used in a more optimum manner. I think I also will take the opportunity to answer what we'll call that, Mr. Chan's, your concern actually on this ZEP, when they talk about zero energy building or even near zero energy building, where I think in Malaysia you can see that the growth of the renewable energy as well as the energy efficiency, eventually they will come hand in hand, where there is a requirement or there is a possibility that the industry, they want to have the reduction in the electricity, what we call the utilization. It may not be advantageous actually to TMB, you know, but I think people are concerned. People want to generate their own electricity. So they will try actually to mobilize a system which is at the same time generating electricity. At the same time, they will use what we'll call the energy, more energy efficient requirement. So eventually you may have entities that are moving actually into the zero or near zero energy entity. And we were actually being informed that local authorities are also beginning to be interested actually in this area. So I think from government perspective, as Mr. Chen, you actually wanted to ask, I think once we have the requirement like BI, eventually, you know, agency under us like SEDA, we are actually working now very closely with some Japan entities, you know, where they are helping us actually to come out with some guidelines of moving actually into the zero energy design, some guideline, you know. So these are the things which we probably will be looking forward in the future.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Wong. Mr. Engineer Chang, can you tell us on the part of consultant and the manufacturer, what is the limitation and constraint they have in certifying the product as green or star rated? You know, I mean, we have problems. Only very few products certified. And maybe you can tell us some basic the points that why they are not doing it, you know, besides saving energy for the nation and all that. Yeah.
Thank you, Gopal. Now I'd like to chip in a bit on Mr. Wong's explanation on the E&C Act. Contrary to the general public to think that, oh, the government's coming up with another act or something to control you and so on, I think all of us got to bear in mind the importance of EE&C Act ECA Act, one of the most important element of it is that you finally get to collate all data. Now, without data, we can never improve. Without data, we will not know which is the priority area to improve and which is the more value for money area to improve. So it's important that we must have an E&C Act, because otherwise everybody's hiding all the information. Now, to what the Gopal you asked me about, okay, in terms of EE, what are the obstacles for EE products and so on?
Right.
It's always supply and demand. If there's demand for it, people will move towards the direction, because it's all creating awareness. You look at it, the problem with Malaysia is, in the past, in all knowledge, electricity, energy is too cheap. Right? So people do not concentrate on that. But the moment we charge the unsubsidized energy continuously, you see that it pays to go for energy efficient appliances and equipment, and that's where the manufacturers will all react to it. So yes, I don't see what you call it, any long-term obstacle. It's just that the government has been very patient, has been advising, has been creating awareness. So if you really put the ENCA on, MEPS on, nobody actually will be jumping up and down the street. People are all aware of that and moving to that direction. Thank you.
So if that's the case, Mr. Wong, we hope the E and C will come and play very soon, so we can change the mindset. Yeah, right. And there also,
Engineer Gopal, I hope people will not be supporting now, but the moment actually that the act is being passed in Parliament, then there is all this hoo-ha, and then there's a lot of things that we probably have to manage after that.
right. I think the MAVEX exhibition will be a forum, or maybe that time maybe the act come to play, people are aware of this act. I think the impact will be greater. So okay, next question, I think go to Engineer Cheng. Engineer Cheng, I think the question to you is, you have mentioned in detail the various future ACMV technologies for tropics. Can you tell us whether the designer, manufacturers, and installers are ready now to embrace this technology?
Okay, thank you again. Now, first of all, whether they are ready. Yes, remember when we first, the country first embarked on greening buildings, having green buildings. That was,
right,
from my calculation now, 11 years ago, or slightly more, maybe 12. Now, how do we go about it? Before we even really push it, you've got to train up everyone. So the industry actually started training up all the designers, professionals. So yes, if by now the professionals are not conversant with the green and energy efficiency, I think they will be what a cluster has been unfair to their clients. Now, in terms of those technologies, I selected 10. Now, are these implementable, or are we ready for it? The very first one on the list, which I elaborated a bit, costs you nothing. Condensate water harvesting, but it's going to do wonders for you. It's just a practice that everybody's going to do it, and that's it. Now we go on to the other examples that I gave. What are those? Some, yes, I've mentioned it'll take a while longer. Plus, solar thermal cooling, which is something that I'm quite passionate about, but it is unfortunate not moving forward, because in Malaysia, we have a wonderful climate. Remember, I touched on, yes, a hot and humid climate throughout the year doesn't mean we are disadvantaged. Here we are advantaged. In fact, if any country that should innovate or do more research and more improvement for the use of solar, especially solar thermal cooling, we should lead the way. Singapore can't do it. They don't have enough roofs and so on for doing such things. Our buildings are ideal for it. So this is where we should, just that, again, economy of scale. And maybe I would like to touch on to Mr. Wong that, yes, the government should look at giving more incentive for these people to innovate further, because we should be the center of this. Thank you. So there are a lot of examples in here.
Yeah, Mr. Kevin, can you add on your perspective as a contractor and as an installer? What is the obstacle or limitation you have from the owner himself? Why aren't they going to this kind of new technologies in their system?
I think basically it's always been cost. A lot of building owners are not many are not looking at how the energy is being used. And most owners are very compelled or very motivated to pay TNB bill based on that one piece of paper. When they see, they just pay. So that's their main motivation. But if they are able to understand how each of the part or component of the building is being used, how the energy is being used in each area, right? Then they will be more compelled to look into this area of how to make it more efficient. That's what I believe. Currently, now building owners are just not looking at it, but more on just one piece of paper. Yeah.
All right, understood. It's more of a cost factor here. Okay,
Yeah.
we got another question for Mr. Kevin.
Yeah.
You said cap the waste. You mentioned cap the waste. You mentioned that the lack of visibility. Can you elaborate further on this and how to be visible?
Yeah. Okay. Just like an example, when you go into a restaurant and then when you get a bill at the end of the day, just one number, will you be satisfied with that? I don't think so, because you will want to see the breakdown, right? So if I say that you are able to break down your energy, let's say for instance the chiller plant room, you are able to break down the components that is drawing your energy, understand it, then optimizing the operations from there. That's where it is what I'm talking about, visibility. Yeah.
Gopal, if I can chip in on that, that's the reason
Yeah.
why the importance of BI labeling. With BI labeling, even you look at a piece of bill only, now you can compare your building with an equivalent building. Suddenly, you can realize and be aware that you are not energy efficient. You will learn to do something about that, because without the comparison, nobody understands it.
Right.
That's correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay, I think we have another question for Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong, as usually the topic that people like to ask from the government itself, but we noticed that only 6 products were certified under standard labeling program, right? What are the action initiatives taken by your ministry to increase the number of products to be included in the certified list? I think Engineer Chang mentioned something, and maybe you can elaborate further on those things and the constraints.
Normally, actually, to be able to what call certify, you need what call that, a lot of what call that processes. Which in this case, I think within the ASEAN region, I think there is this collaboration among the ASEAN member states for them actually to come out with some standards for some of these electrical appliances. As of now, they have actually come out to about 8 in total. You mentioned about 6. We also have included washing machine, microwave, as well as electric rice cooker. So I think within the ASEAN region, there was actually some suggestion actually even to include, sometimes not only those what we call the domestic electrical appliances which are useful for the residential, but also some of these electric motors, because I think then you can actually encourage the utilization on more efficient motor, especially for the SMEs. Then you can actually stop importing those motors which are less energy efficient. But I think as of now, we are only talking about, on a ministry level, working with some international organization, in this case, maybe with Japan, with UK, to come out actually with some standards of that before we can make it into a mandatory requirements. So I think we are actually quite happy with the present 8 electrical appliances. Okay.
So I hope with the new EE and CA Act in play, more manufacturer and OEM will come in towards achieving our overall aspiration, having more product online. So I think the one more question, I think Mr. Calvin, you got another question, is regarding the what we call lack of optimization and experience has mainly contributed to energy waste in building. Yeah. What should the building owner and ACMV operator must do to improve the performance and energy waste?
I think basically training up the maintenance team to understand the entire control system is very important. The continuous training is very important. The next one is always important, is like I mentioned many times, is making the building visible, and then continuously commission the building. that will help, I believe, to in that sector. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Anywhere to add on? I think Engineer Chang, you have anything on the energy waste? I think you are expert in it.
Yeah, I can add on a bit of our problems with the BS over the years. Okay, BS installations. When you first design and install it, it's fine. The problem is that a lot of these controls, what Kelvin mentioned, all these control devices, instruments, and so on. Unfortunately, all these needs to be recalibrated regularly. Right, but a lot of the industry, a lot of failures of BS installations because you think that these piece of equipments are all perpetual, installed and they're forever. No need to maintain, no need to recalibrate. So these are things going to change. So again, I lump back to I revert back to what the ECA indirectly forces everyone to do because the moment BI comes out, now you know it's not working well. Now you know that you've got to start maintaining those systems as well.
All right. So, gentlemen, I think with the short time we had, I think we covered most of it, and all those ACMV industry players and everybody else dealing with energy and sustainability. I think you should get the message from three of you. But before I let you go from the screen, do you have a final take on this thing? A key, number one, key takeaway for the audience? Each of you, Mr. Wong, you're first.
Okay, just a quick one. We actually have the Save 2.0 program, 200 ringgit rebate. So for those of you who have not actually purchased any 4-star or 5-star aircon or refrigerator, please go to the shops and who are actually registered with us, purchase and you get your 200 ringgit rebate.
Can it be backdated?
No.
What is it? When is the effective date? Effective date from when?
Effective from 1st January 2021.
Too late. Because Chang was teaching us on energy efficiency star rating. He said, you guys must be the examples. I bought all mine energy efficient products.
Last year.
Yeah. For the audience, actually, if you don't purchase any of these things, please, this opportunity. Government give you a rebate of 200 ringgit,
Yeah.
So,
Gopal, Gopal, can I add? You haven't lost out because you purchased last year. You save more energy cost than those who purchase now.
That's true. Exactly, that's true. Thank you, Chang, for highlighting that. So, I think, Chang, your key takeaway to the audience.
Okay, I'd like to say that yes, this whole forum, this theme today is on environment and sustainability. So to the general public, you have heard from all of us. So at least the least you can do is be conscious to buy energy efficient products. And I'd like to leave with a quote for you to ponder on by saying that 1 watt of electricity saved is more than 1 watt of electricity produced.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Absorb it, digest it, and try to implement it. Yeah. So, Kevin, yours, final take?
Well, my final take is to always try to make your building visible and always recommission the building so that you will get optimized operations. And at the end, it's about sustainability excellence. Yeah.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much, all the three panelists. Now I will later part I'll conclude the Power Talk series today. Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have heard from the three panelists. They've given you a lot of tips and advice on how to save energy and how to assist the government towards the aspiration of become a sustainable nation. Now, well, ladies and gentlemen, you know the future technology solution in order to maintain sustainable environmental sustainability for long run. As you are aware that our government has committed in reducing 40% of CO2 emission by 2030. We in ACMV and our industry must play a crucial role in reduction of CO2 emission by adapting and adopting the new energy efficiency and green technologies in order to assist our government aspiration to be a sustainable nation. We also play an important role in the UN Sustainable Development Goal or SDG, mainly in SDG 11, which is Sustainable City and Communities, SDG 12, which is responsible consumption and production, and lastly, SDG 13, climate change. These are the areas that ACMV and our stakeholders play a very important role towards achieve the world's target and goal. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would like to take this opportunity to say a big thank you to all the panelists today, Mr. Wong, Engineer Chang, and Mr. Kevin for sharing your thought and knowledge in this Power Talk. As a last note to our audience, congratulations for staying until the end of today's Marvel Power Talk series. And we at Marvel are very excited to welcome all supplier, manufacturers, and stakeholders to be on board in this inaugural dedicated business event in order to rebuild our ACMV and our industry together. If you would like to be part of this business event or in this Power Talk series, our team has posted a link in the comment box, and do click on the link to make an appointment with the marketing team for a discussion, follow-up action. And finally, do stay tuned for our next Power Talk session soon. Stay safe and take care.